engaging students in Zoom. We appreciate everyone's support around the Zoom rollout. We are very excited to know that they've worked a lot on their security. We know there were some frustrations around WebEx, and I'm really happy that the district was able to take the feedback from teachers and from parents and from students about their frustration and pivot to Zoom. So if you need access to this presentation, if you go to links.pccsk12.com/Zoom, that will give you access to the presentation. There are several people who are not able to get in because the link on the document is not up to date. All right. I apologize. I just give me 1 second. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. Andrew, can you unmute yourself? Are you talking about the presentation, the access to that? Hello, Andrew?
Sorry, I was trying to see if I could edit that document. So it's the one that was linked to in the blog, the Tech Department PD, August 2020, that has all the calendar links.
I updated that one.
If you click on the one for right now, it says that the event's been canceled and removed from my calendar.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, Matt, Sue Evans here. I've been working at getting in for about 15 minutes. When I went to the calendar and pressed the link, at first it told me that the meeting ID was invalid. And then I did send an email to tech and they gave me a new link. So that's how I got in.
Okay. I apologize. I'm going to give you access, Andrew. All right. Come on. Andrew, it says you have access. Okay. All right. I apologize for that. Appreciate your flexibility. Do you think I'm okay to go on?
52 of us say yes, please.
So Matt, just before you move on, I do not have editing access to that document. I just requested it.
While we're waiting, does anybody want to unmute themselves and tell me any kind of shows to binge watch the next couple of weeks? Anybody?
The Canvas webinars, no time
Canvas
for binge
webinars,
watching.
yeah.
Great
That's
viewing.
not funny.
Great
Yeah.
viewing.
Yeah.
Not
And
funny.
the board meetings, I know that those are.
Oh,
Yeah, that takes 6 hours a night. So there
yeah,
you
we
go.
need to break that up in 2-hour segments.
Yep.
It's exhausting. That's not funny either.
and God bless them, right? God bless for you know for doing what they do and engaging and everything like that. So Andy, you should be good now. So if you want to refresh your screen.
Yep, I'm good. I'm going to change the link there and just, you may want to update it for future PD.
Thank you. I'll have you do it because obviously I'm incapable of doing anything right. All right. So, hi. Welcome back. All right. Welcome to Engaging Students with Zoom. So a little bit about what we're going to be doing today and talking about is really just showcasing some of the notable features in Zoom, looking at how to really encourage that student engagement and also looking at some best practices. Some of those features being video breakout rooms. I know it's been a pretty big feature that we want to explore. The whiteboard feature, polling, and then as well as having any kind of ideas and activities. Again, if you want access to this presentation, if you go to links.pccsk12.com/Zoom, and there we have some links for some videos, resources, some cool, like there's a Zoom scavenger hunt that you can do with your kids. It's really fun. So yeah. All right. So within Zoom, you can maintain connections with your students, provide instruction, answer questions, and provide support and facilitate collaboration. Really, I think, like I said earlier, I'm glad the district decided, to push through with Zoom. I think that a lot of different companies are using Zoom, and I know it was mentioned earlier that, parents are feeling kind of overwhelmed with everything, but I think the intuitiveness of it makes it really kind of set apart from other platforms, and looking forward to using it this year. And again, using Zoom, we really want to maximize the learning and minimize frustrations. And again, thank you again for coming to this training. Understand that it is summertime. Again, we are going to be recording it for later use, and Rick and I are around. I'll make sure to post Rick's cell phone number in the chat so anybody can call him whenever they want. I know he's really up at 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning, so he's up in the UP right now. So I'm allowed to say stuff like this because he can't do anything about it. All right, so a little bit of housekeeping, talk about, and it's always just kind of the best practice when you're coming in to mute yourself. There is a feature in Zoom where it automatically mutes people. You can also lock the mute as well, so people can't unmute themselves, and we'll go into that a little bit later. There is a full screen view. There's also a grid view. I know that was missed with the other platform. So there is a grid view in Zoom. Chat window, really encouraging that chat. You can enable a waiting room. So as people are coming on, if you don't recognize a name, or if you just want to meet with a certain group of kids, and other kids can just kind of wait in the waiting room. You can enable a waiting room. You can also have, for participants, if you don't want them to chat, or if you only want them to chat with you specifically and not have other private conversations with other kids, you can turn that on and off. And again, you can also remove participants and kind of, boot them out, as it were, and then go on with your instruction. Video, of course, really trying to encourage a positive classroom culture. Some students might just not feel confident enough to be shown on video, and you do have that functionality of you can lock it so kids can't turn on the video, or if they can. Also really encouraging the virtual background. I know there's been some issues with virtual background with the Chromebooks. I know that's something that Google is working on, but students with iPads, phones, like an iPhone, Macs, PCs, can utilize the virtual background, and we'll go into virtual background a little bit later. Julie, I noticed your hand is raised. Did you have a question?
Sorry, that was my question earlier. And then you answered it, so I can unraise it.
Great. All right, thanks. Yeah.
I actually want to know how many kids
Yeah.
can they see one time in a grid view?
I'm sorry?
How many kids can they see at one time in a grid view?
It really depends on the size of your screen. And so like right now we have, 58 people in here. I can see a max of it's like 26. And then it has a little arrow in the bottom right-hand corner that goes next to it. So again, it depends on the size of the screen. I would imagine with a Chromebook, it's probably going to be closer to 12 to 16 if I think about like a 4x4 grid. So yeah. So again, really making sure to mute upon entry option. That's in your Zoom settings. So I'll show you that a little bit later. Again, talking about waiting room. Only authenticated users can join. I believe this is like at PCCS K-12 users. So for example, if you only want to have your students come in, I believe that's what that means. And Andrew and Mark, you can speak up if I'm wrong with that. But like if we want parents to join and they have a personal Gmail account, obviously we want to make sure that's not checked. Breakout room pre-assigned, we're going to get into that a little bit later. And then again, recording the meeting automatically. You can record the meeting for the cloud in Zoom, or you can record it to your local computer. We are recommending that once you record, to upload it into your Google Drive. We're going to be putting documentation and tip sheets on how to do that if you need help with that, just because there's only so much space on the Zoom cloud, and when you have it in your Drive, you can share it a lot easily with families and with administration or with staff. Again, I talked about virtual backgrounds a little bit earlier. In terms of our PCs, they really like to have either a green screen or kind of a solid background. I notice like when I do here in my dining room, the white brick works pretty well, but the wood paneling doesn't. I also have a green screen. I was actually able to pick up some green screen fabric at Joann Fabrics, and I think I paid like $12, $15. It wasn't really that bad. So if you want to encourage the virtual background, and again, thinking about Chromebooks and our students, you know, obviously we'd love to see their faces, but understand that, you know, some kids might feel embarrassed about their backgrounds. So we want to make sure we encourage that positive classroom culture and behavior, and, you know, making sure they feel as comfortable as possible. Any questions so far?
There are some questions about the options. Where do I find the meeting options menu? And how do you have to reset the options each time?
Questions, yes. So that's in your Zoom settings, and I'll show you how to access those options a little bit later. We'll get to it. Always important, just like with when you're face-to-face instruction, to really kind of begin that dialogue, begin that, you know, positive classroom culture, begin with a little bit of banter. You know, my favorite is, you know, shows you're binge watching, probably not the most appropriate for kindergartners or first graders, but, you know, really think about your audience. But that bit of small talk really kind of relaxes people and really centers themselves and prepare to be more focused for the learning. Setting up lesson materials beforehand. Again, this is just kind of a best practice, making sure that things are posted maybe in Canvas, or you have maybe your IXL assignments already set up, or anything like that. A pro tip I have, and I tried to explain this a little bit earlier and it kind of came out kind of confusing, but I like to have all of my learning materials kind of in one window, one Chrome browser window, so that when you share your screen, you're only sharing that one window, right? Because then you can use another window to either have notes on, or you can have it for something that for your eyes only, as opposed to the kids. And I can go into that a little bit later when I share my screen and do some more demoing. But I like having just kind of the one window. And then you might have like your slide deck, you might have your Canvas open, maybe a calendar open, just on that one screen. Best practices for Zoom calls, keeping it simple in terms of your background and your space. Again, muting all upon entry kind of reduces that noise. We're finding that, you know, if you can encourage kind of the headphones with the microphones, that typically blocks out a lot of kind of the ambient noise a little bit. If you have a screaming 6-year-old in the background, that can help with that. Zoom is nice because you have the raise hand feature. There's a yes feature and no feature. I need a break, a little cup of coffee, I like that kind of a thing. So that's nice little buttons that the kids have in the chat. pausing through Zoom can be a little uncomfortable. if there's kind of dead silence, 10 seconds feels like 10 minutes, right? But we still want to really encourage that think time, and we really want to encourage, kids to really think about their answers. So embrace that pause. And then it's also recommended to either have a student leader, a co-teacher, kind of a co-host, if at all possible. Like sometimes it's just obviously not realistic. And they can help with either moderating chat, like Diane is volunteering today, and I appreciate that, Diane. Kind of answer any kind of technical questions, maybe in chat. Sometimes, and depending on the content, you get very focused on the presentation that it's hard to manage the chat and the participants and everything like that. So, and again, there's just some links in here that would help as you access the presentation with some best practices. So we have 3 power rules when looking at for moderating a Zoom chat. Making sure you sign in 15 minutes beforehand, checking your audio, checking your video, making sure your links are working, using a chat or breakout room feature. It is nice to have the captions on. So I did that with Google Slides. There's no closed caption that's built into Zoom directly. It would use something like a third party. I think Google does a pretty good job with their slide app. So we definitely encourage that. And again, talking about that silence piece, once you ask a question, really let it sit for 10 to 15 seconds. And then obviously then call on people, and you can unmute them and mute them. Again, thinking about classroom management through a virtual area. So video breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are kind of miniature rooms. You can actually have up to 50 breakout rooms in a Zoom session. So wasn't sure if you would actually need 50 different rooms, but you can have up to 50. In the rooms, they can be either manually assigned, so you can pick certain people to go to certain rooms, or you can have it automatically divided. The host can go between the rooms and join all the different rooms to check in and answer questions. The host can also, with a single button, bring everyone back in to the room. You can also set the room to be on a timer. And the nice thing about that is, so let's say you say, all right, kids, we're gonna break into our small groups for our projects. I'll set the timer for 15 minutes. So what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a little timer in the upper right-hand corner of that breakout room. And when it gets to that 0 mark, it's gonna give kids 60 seconds to finish up their conversation. After that 60 seconds, if they haven't left the room, there's going to be a little button on the bottom right-hand corner that says left room. It's just going to automatically actually push them back to the main room. So it does that automatically, kind of a cool little feature.
Matt, there's a couple questions about the breakout rooms. The first one is, how do you manage all of the breakout rooms at once?
Mm-hmm.
And the next question was, if you do record, does it record all the breakout rooms?
Yeah, good question. So it does take some practice to manage the rooms. And I'll just kind of show you what it kind of looks like. So when you're looking at, when a teacher looks at a screen, basically it's going to kind of look like this. So you'll see all your breakout rooms with the kids in it. You'll click on the room and then you'll click join. So you can kind of see the different rooms and kind of who's in those rooms as you've created them. As far as the recording goes, unfortunately, the recording follows the host. So if I'm a host and I'm recording in the main room and I click on breakout room 1, it's now recording in breakout room 1. If I switch over to breakout room 3, it'll be recording in breakout room 3. The only way that I've been able to find, and Andrew and Mark, if you know something else, please let me know. But if you want to be able to record the other rooms, you actually have to, as a host, designate someone in that room to press record, and they will record locally to their computer, if that makes any sense. And so you'll get a little message on your screen that says, Jackie Chan has asked to record this session. You can either say yes, or you can say no. If you say yes, it'll record, it'll go onto his computer, and then you would just talk to Jackie later and say, hey, Jackie, do you mind uploading that video to me? Or do you mind sending that to me in an email or something like that? So that's the recording in breakout rooms right now.
Another question, as a support teacher, can I enter the Zoom and have the teacher send me and my small group to another room while she continues with the other students?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can make the co-host can manage those rooms, or if you have a student leader as an example. But yes, a support person can do that.
And there's a question, is there a link for support staff to join a breakout room?
I guess I'm not following the question. You would just be invited to the actual Zoom link, and then the host would simply click on the teacher's, the support person's name, and there's a little button that says more, and that says make co-host. So it's not a specific link. It's within the Zoom room itself. But it's nice. In terms of the breakout rooms, the automatic is kind of cool. It just puts people in random rooms. Manual is obviously kind of nice because, if we know some students that work better with others, or if you want to do it by, let's say you have like reading groups and you have your red group, your blue group, your green group, however you want. And again, we're going to go into later just how to actually set up a breakout room and what it looks like to have it already done versus kind of on the fly. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
There was a quick question about that. If you use the automatically assign feature, can you go in and make changes before they're assigned? So like you don't like how the groups are assigned, can you go in and make changes?
You just have to, so in the bottom left-hand corner, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it says recreate. You just have to press that recreate room until if you want to do it automatically. Otherwise, you would just have to do it manual from the beginning.
They also want to know, can you do it ahead of time before you start your Zoom?
Yep, and I'll show you how to do that. Thanks, Diane. Okay, whiteboard feature. The whiteboard feature. So there is a whiteboard feature in Zoom. There's a kind of a workaround for making it collaborative. I actually don't like it as much. We just added a new app to Google Apps that I'm going to show you a little bit later that is far better, I think, that does more collaboration on a single whiteboard. It's through Google. The whiteboard feature, again, it's nice for like little things if you just want to show a quick math problem, or if you have like a sentence on there, you want to say, okay, we're going to highlight the nouns and we're going to underline the verbs or something. Again, that's just through Teacher. There's a workaround with kids, but it's a little bit complicated. Would highly recommend that if you do use the whiteboard feature, if you have like a phone or a tablet or a touchscreen computer, you can sign on using that computer and actually just use the touchscreen, because drawing with a mouse or using a trackpad on a laptop, you get some interesting pictures, right? So re-encouraging kind of the use of another device if you're able to. I know some people that you can actually buy a little stylus to actually use in the trackpad of a laptop. So you could do something like that. Styluses on Amazon, you can get for like $2 or $3. It's not too bad. And again, that software we're going to recommend, we'll talk about a little bit later. It's called Jamboard. It's awesome. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So I'm just going to show you the whiteboard and annotation demo. So I'm just going to come out of this, and you actually need to stop sharing to actually show the whiteboard. So I'm going to click on stop share. Yeah, see everyone's face. Hello. I'm going to click on share screen, and then I have the whiteboard, and I just click on share. And again, you can put little stamps on here. You can do drawings. So again, I apologize for how this is going to look. I'm using a mouse, so it's a little bit awkward. But again, if you have, you know, an iPad or a phone where you have a little touch screen, that can make things a lot easier. There's a little spotlight feature, so you can, if you're looking at like parts of a plant, you know, here's the leaf, here's the stem, here are the roots, kind of a thing, just kind of clicking. You can do text if you want, do different colors. So yeah, a lot of cool things you can do with the kind of the whiteboard. As far as the annotation goes, that is with, so I'm just gonna stop screen sharing and then share my actual screen. Right here on the top, and I don't know if you can see this, when you share a screen, you get a little menu that on the top of your computer that says like participants, you know, annotate. So I'm going to click right here on annotate. And the nice thing is with the annotation feature, you know, if you find something that's on your screen, on your desktop, similar like we have with your smartboard and the Smart Ink, you can annotate right here on the screen. And again, awkward drawings. You can also save your annotations. So if you're on IXL or something and you're annotating on a problem, you can save your annotation and it's going to come up as an image on your computer, and then you can send that to your kiddos.
Does this work on Chromebooks and iPads?
Chromebooks, again, not the best experience. iPads, it is better. Chromebooks with the latest version and software, I've heard, is a little bit more reliable compared to older Chromebooks with older software. Again, if you're going to use the whiteboard feature, I would actually recommend using this program Jamboard, which I'll show you in a little bit. I just think it's a lot easier. It's collaborative. You can have up to 50 kids on the same board. So again, I'll show that a little bit later. But yeah, it's not the best experience in a Chromebook, unfortunately. All right. So I'm going to present. Polling. So there is a polling feature with Zoom. Polls can be either set up beforehand or set up kind of on the fly. Right now, the polling features in Zoom are single choice and multiple choice. And it doesn't have a quiz feature. Like if you wanted to ask a question, there's a specific answer. It won't do that, but it'll just do kind of like a poll. And so, again, when you get access to this doc, you'll see some of the other links we have on here. Something like Nearpod and Poll Everywhere and Pear Deck, you have a little bit more options. But if you just need a quick little poll with your kids, it's actually kind of nice. One thing to note, polls only work for scheduled meetings or instant meetings when you use your personal meeting ID. So I'm not sure if you remember from WebEx that you had a personal meeting room and then you have more of a public room. The personal meeting room was that same link every day, so you could just post that into your Google Classroom and then kids could click on it just to access you. So the poll is only available in these two. So if I was just to start a Zoom right now and it wasn't a personal meeting, I would not have access to a poll. It's only through scheduled and through personal meetings. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send out a poll. And I see and I'm going to click on launch polling, and you should see a little box come up. Let's see. We had some interesting answers a little bit earlier. Yeah. More people in this session like peanut butter than they did in the morning session. And still, like 6 or 7 folks that just don't like PB&Js. I understand. Love the PB&J. The perfect meal. So right now, I'm going to say, okay, so we look good. There's a little timer in the upper hand corner. I see that 2 people have not voted, or 3 people, so I apologize. I'm just going to end the poll, and I can share the results, and then people can see, what the results are. So it's kind of a cool little, quick assessment, quick formative assessment if you're just looking to get data. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing results. And again, you could have multiple questions. So I could have like a little screen, there's a little drop down menu for the poll, and I could pick the question that I want. And again, these questions can be set up beforehand before you start your meetings. Any question for polls? Brain breaks.
Oh, one question
Oh.
about the poll, sorry. Where is it saved at?
Where is the what?
They want to know where is the poll saved, like the results?
Oh, where's the poll saved? You can have the results exported as a text file, and then it's saved onto your computer. Similar to face-to-face, it's important to do brain breaks. It's important to kind of take a break if you're speaking for a while. A good rule of thumb for a virtual session is around 10 to 13 minutes. Past 13 minutes, and again, depending on the age of the kids, the younger the kids, the less time you want to do spending on one activity. So having kind of like a shift in activity. It's definitely okay to shift from one digital piece to another. So for example, if you're working in, your Jamboard for, 7 or 8 minutes and you're ready for a brain break, it's okay to like go to iExcel or go to Canvas or do something else digitally that is considered a shift where that's considered a brain break. Or, really encouraging kind of stretching, moving. GoNoodle is a very popular app that you can use. If you do use something like GoNoodle, where you're taking kind of a break as a class, on the upper right-hand corner of mute, there's a little caret that has an arrow going up. It's important as a host that you check the box that says share computer audio. If you don't check that box, they're just going to see some dancing people, and you're not going to hear, what was it? I can't remember the name of the GoNoodle song right now at the same in my life, but you will be able to hear the computer audio. So you just want to make sure that box is checked. And again, that's with the caret that's little next to the mute, and it's in your audio settings.
Matt, one question about the polls. They want to know if you can see who did not answer.
No, you can't. It doesn't give you names of who answered and who didn't answer. So for something like that, you would want to encourage Google Forms or like a quiz from Nearpod or from Canvas, directly in Canvas. Brain breaks, again, really embracing that pause, really encouraging wait time, kind of build in these breaks, always important. Here's a little scavenger hunt. You can do these like Zoom scavenger hunt. Literally, I just went to Google and I just typed in Zoom icebreakers, and there's tons of stuff, of course, like everything. But as you have access to this presentation, you'll be able to see this. This was really fun. I kind of experiment and use my 6-year-old as a guinea pig for a lot of my stuff that I do, and he really liked doing this. So It works for kindergartners up to 12th grade, I'm assuming. Jamboard. All right. Love me some Jamboard. All right, so I'm going to show you this. If I could have a volunteer, I'd like to share a Jamboard with someone so you can so people can kind of see how it works. If someone would be willing to, Sue Evans. All right, thank you, Sue. So I'm going to share, and I'm going to type in your name, Sue. So you should be receiving a file, either probably to your email that I've shared a Jamboard with you. So this is what a Jamboard looks like. So you can have multiple whiteboards on here. You can choose different backgrounds. So if I wanted to, I could do like a graphing background. If I wanted to, I could just do a scatter plot, which is really nice. And let's see if you want to do sticky notes. Blue. And so Sue, on the left-hand side, you should see some like pens and pictures and stuff. If you wouldn't mind starting to draw some stuff so people can see what it kind of looks like. Yep, there it is. So I don't know if you can see Sue's little picture as she's drawing. Her little face bubble is going to come up as she's doing stuff.
I'm working.
There she is. Hey, I like it. So as you can see here, it's like a Google Doc, except for a whiteboard, and it's very simple. Simple design. You know, you have a highlighter tool, you have a brush tool. There's a little pointer tool, so it's like the magic ink on your Smart Ink, so it kind of disappears. Once you have this, you can download as a PDF. You can save it as an image. So yeah, really cool software. And again, this is free. This is for all of our kids and our teachers. Yeah, so did you have a question?
Yeah, right now I'm getting a message that says can't sync your changes. Please copy your recent edits, then revert your changes.
Okay. I want to maybe because I'm the owner, that could be. So
Okay.
I'll have to look into that. One of the nice things about, just lost my train of thought. I apologize. So I could erase the whole frame right now, which is kind of cool. Any questions on Jamboard?
There is a question, would students still have to use the mouse pad?
Yeah, they would. I mean, you know, K through 5 kids have the touchscreen Chromebooks if they're using a district device. There is an iPad app that uses Jamboard. So you can use the app, you can use it through a phone. But yeah, it would be using the mouse or using the trackpad.
Okay, I have a couple more questions that I've kind of let go. Smartboard, will you be able to use this with Zoom and Canvas?
I have to see the Smart Online Learning Suite, if it has an integration with Canvas. Depending on what you want to do with your Smartboard, I guess. I'd have to let me write that down for a question.
There's also questions about vocabulary and Newsela access, and along with Nearpod. It seems to integrate with virtual learning. Is it going to be available?
So I do know that in terms of Newsela, there is a free version. Same with Nearpod. I'm not sure about Vocabulary. I know Nearpod bought Vocabulary. The district doesn't have licenses for those platforms. And I know in the springtime, a lot of these companies offered them for free, but have since, this summer have kind of stopped that. So I don't believe there's any plans in purchasing those for the coming school year.
And they want to know if Zoom will be automatically downloaded to the iPads.
Yeah, so if Mark or Andrew, if you're able to chime in, I think you remember saying this earlier. We are going to be offering K through 2 students. So if you're a kindergarten through second grade student and you're in need of a device, parents were sent an email and a survey if a device is needed. I know like we have technology pairs that are calling home to confirm iPads will be available from the school. And with FileWave, we're able to push out specific apps. We are testing that right now. So if we were to take out an iPad outside of the school district and into a different setting, pushing out specific apps, we are testing that, but that is the plan for right now.
2 more questions and then I'll let you get back. There was
Okay.
a question about that. Your iPads, will they work with the computer or is the headset the best?
I'm sorry, Diane, you were kind of fading out.
The iPads that you use with your phones, the earbuds that go
Yeah.
in with the wireless ones, can you use those with their computers or is a headset best?
So those utilize Bluetooth. You can use Bluetooth on our ProBooks and on our teacher computers. So Bluetooth does work. I do have those AirPods. I think they work fairly well. The battery life is kind of hard. The battery life on them is not the best. And so if you're doing, a couple hours a day, that can really drain your battery. I just use the ones that come like from my iPhone, and I've been very happy with them. But yeah.
And the last question was about recording lessons. So when you record the lesson and your closure after the breakout room, will it record it all as one event without the breakout rooms in there?
So, and I'll probably need to research this a little bit more just because I'm just learning about I'm glad you're having fun, Sue. I like seeing the drawings that you're doing. You're fine. So it stands to reason that, if I'm a teacher and I'm recording a session and I go into a breakout room, it's now recording in that breakout room. Theoretically, no one is in the main chat anymore. So there would be no need for recording in that main chat. But it does come over as a single file with the screen recording. I was able to look at the download from this morning. It's all just a single recording. I'm not sure if that answers the question or not.
And they said something about Nearpod. They had licenses. What happened to them?
So we do have a very small number of pilot Nearpod that has had it for a couple of years. We are still going to continue that, but it's like, I think around 70 or 75. I'm actually not sure where that stands. I'm pretty sure we still have it, but I'm not really sure yet. So I'm happy to follow up with the teacher that made that question and follow up at a later date.
That was Brianna Scott.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
done with questions now.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna go. Thanks, Sue, for the awesome drawings in Jamboard. All right, I know these next slides are kind of just the ways that you can use Jamboard. Again, you're presenting slides, writing down notes, giving messages, different kids. Again, using the background grids. Works best if you have a tablet device. Again, these slides just kind of have, just little activities you can do. I won't go through them in depth now just because I want to make sure we honor our time we have, and I want to show you again, how to access some of these things I showed you earlier. Timelines, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, Classroom Screen. I really like Classroom Screen, so I definitely want to show that. So classroomscreen.com is a free application, and it's all web-based. So I'm going to go ahead and click launch. So when you go to classroomscreen.com, you'll see a little green launch in the upper right-hand corner, and it gives you kind of all these little features. So as you're using Zoom. So if I wanted to, I can put a traffic light up here. You know, if kids are getting kind of loud, or if we need to get their attention, I'm going to put it on red. You know, or we're good to go right now. We can put like little dice on here. So if you're talking about probability, if you're talking about any kind of statistics, you can put a timer on here. You know, as you can see, I'm just kind of adding stuff. The random name is very cool. You can put the list of your kids in here and their names, and then it's a random name generator. So you simply click on choose, and it'll go through a random name, and it comes up on, you know, Jackie Chan, and Jackie Chan, can you answer this question for me, kind of a thing. So just kind of a cool little free tool that you can utilize when you're doing your virtual teaching. Again, that's classroomscreen.com. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and show the how to access Zoom, and show you the breakout room and the poll stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab. Everything I'm also showing you now is and will be in the next couple of days on our digital teaching hub. So just wanted to showcase that. But in the upper right-hand corner, we have, and actually I'm going to bring this screen down. So we have our waffle in the upper right-hand corner. And again, we have access to all of our apps. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to click on Zoom. Can everybody see Zoom right here in the waffle? So it's in the very bottom. And here we are. We can see this is in green because we're in a meeting right now. So if I want to schedule a new meeting, I can click right here on schedule a meeting. And again, you can put your meeting name. So I'm going to say test meeting. You know, if I want it for, let's say, like 3 o'clock. If this is recurring, so let's say you have your office hours maybe on a weekly basis. This is where it talks about generate automatically, or that personal meeting ID. Again, this meeting ID always stays the same. So once you get that link, you can post that into your Canvas, maybe into your email signature, and that will always be the same meeting ID. If you want to have a waiting room, you can click that on or off. Again, a video, if you don't want your kids to show video, you would just simply turn that off. Or if you want to encourage video, they can turn that on and off here. Here's that setting that we had talked about earlier for mute upon entry. So that's right here. If you want to be able to have people come in before you come in, you can enable that. Record meeting automatically. And then here's that breakout room and that pre-assign. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if I click on that, click breakout room pre-assign, I can see create rooms or import from CSV. So I'll show you that in just a second. So if I click on create rooms, a little screen like this is going to come up. So I see rooms, and I know I'm going to want to have 3 rooms. So I'm going to click that 3 times. I go to breakout room 1, and I want to name this, you know, red group. And I'm going to say this is my reading group. So I'm going to say Rick Coughlin. And Mark Salzer, he's kind of a troublemaker. I'll breakout room 2. This might be my green group. And Andrew Steinman is on there. I'm going to click on save, and then there's my breakout room. So when I go into Zoom now, once I'm in this meeting and I start this meeting, if I click on breakout rooms, all those rooms are already created, based off of those people. A question was asked in the previous session. What if I wanted the same breakout kids every single time, right? So we have our small groups, and the small groups are set. I mean, obviously kids are going to fluctuate depending on, how much work they put in, but in essence, they're going to stay the same. The only way that I've been able to find this, and I'm going to open up a quick, it's a Google sheet, and I'm gonna do a click doc about this, a tip sheet on how to do this. I'm gonna click right here on breakout room sample so you can kind of see what this looks like. So what this is called a CSV file, and this is used for like inputting lots of data into a particular form or particular area. And I'll send this out as a tip sheet, so if this kind of glosses over, I apologize. But basically what you would do, so let's say I have my rooms, and then I have that email that's going to be associated with that room, right? So room 1 is going to be Rick and Mark. Room 2 will be Matt and Andrew. Room 3 will be Diane and Kaylee, right? And so what I would just do is I would input all this information beforehand, and I would save it, and I would download it as a CSV file. So now I have that file that has all my kids on it as a CSV. And I save it as CSV. I put that on my desktop or on my computer somewhere. When I go back to Zoom, I apologize, I don't like in Zoom how it kind of does this, like it covers up like the tabs, so I apologize for that. You see where it says import from CSV right here? In the bottom left-hand corner, it says import from CSV. That's where you're going to put that file, and then that'll upload those kits. So again, it's not, I kind of wish there was like a breakout room right here where you can hit save. There's just not. So the best answer I have right now is, again, importing from a CSV. And again, I'm going to create a tip sheet with screenshots. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. And once you have that CSV already built out, it's done. It's just that, at 15 minutes it takes to put this kid's names in and put their email addresses in. So yeah, I'm assuming there's probably some questions, Diane.
Yes. So
Okay.
for the breakout room, they want to know, can a student share a file, such as if they're taking a picture while they're in, they want to share it with their partner in the breakout room, can they share that?
Yeah, so as the host, you can designate certain people as like a co-host or giving them the ability to actually share their screens. You can disseminate who's going to kind of get that power that day, almost like being a student leader of that breakout room.
There's a question about how do you create random breakout rooms?
So that was with the automatic breakout rooms. So you wouldn't pre-assign in this situation. You wouldn't have already this set up. I'll go back to my presentation. See, this is why you have your own tab with all your stuff on it. Go to breakout rooms. So right here, where it says automatically assign, you're going to have 4 rooms, thinking about how many kids you have. So if you have, 28 kids in a room and you want to be able to have an average of 6 or 7 kids per room, you would just put the number of rooms, you'll click on automatically, and then it will move the kids. And again, you can't, I have to try this, like moving one kid from another, like manually. But if you don't like the way these turn out, you just click on the little recreate button on the lower left-hand corner, and that will recreate that room.
How does the host go from room to room?
It looks similar to this, to where it says automatically assign. Here, let me present, so I'm not just like, so it looks similar to this, where you'll have like red group, green group, blue group, yellow group, and then next to those are like, it'll say like join next to the room. You simply just click on join, and then it moves you into that room.
Do I have to make setting changes for each meeting, or does it become default?
I'm sorry, you were cutting out a little bit on that, Dan.
Do I have to make setting changes for each meeting, or does it become a default?
Settings
like
will be, yeah. Yep, so settings come to default. So if I go back to, if I click right here on settings, all these settings right here are, once you change them in here, it goes to all of your rooms. So, and you can go through, there's lots of different settings that are in here. Some of them are locked by administration. We wanted to make sure, obviously, with keeping our kids safe and FERPA and everything, some of those things you don't have to worry about. But let's say you don't want a waiting room. I turned off waiting room because it would have been a lot for me to use the waiting room for these sessions. I would hit admit for like 50 or 60 times, depending on how many people are coming in. But once these are all done, I might turn this feature back on. And then it kind of does like an umbrella for all your meetings.
The question was, how do I invite all my students for first hour, then for second hour, and so on? So for the middle school and high school teachers, they're wondering how they set up their meetings for each class.
Sure. My guess is the easiest would be just when you click on schedule a new meeting, and then you go through here, you make sure you have what you want. You click on here, copy invitation, where it has the invite link, and then you maybe paste that into your Canvas class for that hour. You can also add it to your Google Calendar, and then because Google Calendar will sync with Canvas and the kids' calendar, they'll know that, Tuesday at 2:30, I have a Zoom off. I have office hours with Sue, and click to join, kind of a thing. So you can either use it as a Google Calendar, or you can copy the invitation and paste that directly into Canvas.
No more questions yet.
Hey, I appreciate you, Diane. Thank you so much.
Oh, wait, there's one.
Oh, you're good.
You teach a lesson on Zoom, send kids off to complete an assignment. Is there a suggested way to get all the kids back at the same time to discuss?
Sure. What I would probably do is I would probably utilize the breakout rooms and then do a timer. Say, okay, so everybody, you're going to have 20 minutes to utilize your time. Take the 20 minutes to talk to each other. You can send them with a Google form. You can send them with a Google assignment that says, I expect you to have this done within 20 minutes. Maybe have like a little graphic organizer on there. Talk about, different roles you might have in a small group. You might have a timekeeper. You might have a scribe, someone that's going to do all the writing. You might have someone that is going to, be kind of the person that kind of asks questions. And then you might have like, sentence stems or question strands that they might hear some common questions to ask of your group, and have that on a timer. So then when that 20-minute timer stops, it gives the kids 60 seconds to finish up their conversation, and then it automatically boots them out of that breakout room and puts them back into the meeting room, the main room.
The follow-up was, so each student could be in an individual breakout room?
I mean, theoretically, yeah, because you can have up to 50 breakout rooms. So if you have 31 kids and you want them to be in their own room, you could do that. Absolutely. That might be a little bit hard to manage, but yeah.
No other questions.
Okay. And then we're about there on time. That's all I really had. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so I can see everyone's face. So I hope this was helpful. Again, this was recorded. I will be posting this onto the Digital Teaching Hub. You'll probably see it by tomorrow. I'm going to be putting together an FAQ doc that goes over not only these questions that were had in the chat, but also questions from this morning. Some are going to overlap, some are not. I'll make sure I have that. It was also suggested this morning that Rick and I should create some like tip sheets of the features. So if I think about a poll tip sheet, I'll say step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. So we're happy to create those. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else from this morning.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What was that website that you were using earlier? Just quickly, where it had like the bar at the bottom and then like different, like the stoplight and timer.
Yeah. So that's classroomscreen.com.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Will I be sending us FAQ and tip sheets through email? So what we'll probably end up doing is we'll probably just end up be putting those on the Digital Teaching Hub, and then we'll just send out like in a blog post or somewhere that these are now available. Just because I know, email is, everybody. I get tons of emails a day, and sometimes I can kind of gloss over them. Whereas we want to have that Digital Teaching Hub as kind of a central place for all these different resources and supports for you all. All right, well, thank you so much for everyone engaging today. Really appreciate the energy and your flexibility as we were dealing with some of the technical issues before, trying to figure these out. But as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We still have our virtual office hours open, so you can schedule 15-minute one-on-one sessions with us. Again, Rick's not here, so I will be sending out his cell phone number and his address, so if anybody wants that. And please, as you're going through this, please utilize us as a resource. We want to make sure that you feel supportive, and anything we can do to make this year go as smoothly as possible, we want to accomplish. Hope to see you. Not sure if anybody's going to be attending the Canvas trainings these next couple of weeks. They're just, again, intro to Canvas. It's going to be very high overview. Here's what it looks like. Here's some of the things you can do. I know starting later next week, we're actually going to get into if people want to start creating stuff. We'll be there kind of as a thought partnership as you're starting to create stuff in Canvas. So yeah, I'm going to stick around if anybody has any questions, but otherwise, thanks so much, everyone. And Diane, bless you. Thank you so much for being amazing. Vanna White, I very much appreciate you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Glad to help.
All right, bye, everyone.